So in Tantra, in order to manifest the seven-headed dragon of one's own energetic potential, you would have to, or want to, come to the seven realizations and be able to enact the seven different powers, And on some level, you would have what's understood as the dragon's breath or the lion's roar. Now, the lion's roar is a certain evolution, and the dragon's breath would be another evolution. Does that make sense? And so, like, if you have Tiamat, who is a five-headed dragon, who has a red, yellow, green, purple, and blue chakra open, you'd have like somebody who was tantrically aligned and vibrantly expressive in those five particular chakras, which would mean that they wouldn't necessarily be very defensive, like I'm gonna, but they would, how do I say, the red dragon would be able to, is the protective dragon that can institute protection, but also hurt people and, hurt people for pleasure and fun for their own or its own, if we're talking about red sex, like karmic, crimson release, whereby, how do I say, using pain to pleasure people, then it would be the ability to institute that protectively and quite subduedly, masterly, without being violent, but being, balanced in that. The yellow dragon would be the ability to not be beset by one's own depressions or have thought hold back action in that way. Maybe that I just held my tongue there. The yellow dragon is always able to move, always willing as well. The yellow dragon works in service of action, Yeah, and so any idea is good enough because it's just about the joy of doing things. The green dragon demands honest interaction with one's own emotions, like I'm allowed to feel what I want to feel, is what the green dragon says. And also, how do I say, demands honest interaction and honest emotional expression from other people. The green dragon, you might imagine that they will eat people, And I guess on some level, the difference between, like tantrically, you might find that if you have evolved into a dragon, there's something quite externally effective about the energy that comes out of you. Like, whereas a lion is protective in ways that are stuck to them, their claws and their teeth, the dragon breathes fire. And that's the difference tantrically between the evolution of somebody spiritually. A lion can roar about its power, but the dragon actually, when it roars, it gives off fire. And so the red dragon is adamantly protective, but also adamant that other people are protective in their aura, and probably telling other people to be protective. The green dragon is emotionally expressive and honest, and also, how do I say, protective of other people's freedom emotionally, and also quite demanding of the fact that other people are, like they won't associate with dishonest people, The yellow dragon won't want to be around slow people, who are held back. They'll need that high energy, and they will need people to synthesize with in terms of action, And so in terms of synchronizing your own dragons, it's about having that be your own energy that you're synchronizing with, The purple dragon is the, how do I say, the creative, I wouldn't, like, when I say yellow is the active dragon and then purple is the creative, most of the creativity that humans put forward is active. We act in creative ways, so we'll draw, but it's more about inventiveness and not holding back one's ideas. So the purple dragon is the, how do I say, typified in a person who is able to take the erotic charge of their creativity and put it forwards into an idea, and just do something and like make something beautiful happen, like paint a picture. And that's what the purple dragon does. And in terms of, how do I say, creativity, it will demand constant expression. It will you'll wake up at 4 a.m. and it'll be like, oh no, the purple dragon demands a poem. I've got to write down. And the last one was it's a whitehead, isn't it? I was saying blue. The blue dragon is the...
White dragons are part of the...
D&D law.
Huh?
The D&D law? No?
in D&D lore, yeah.
Yeah. They're all of them are. But on some level, how do I say? The colored dragons, how do I say? The dragons having colors is a spiritual resonance that has been echoed throughout Ayurveda and Chinese, what's the word? Astrology or religion, or what's the word? Mythology, you know, and like Tantra especially has spoken quite a lot of the evolution of animals, because the, how do I say, sexual energies evolve inside people. Can you imagine somebody, like, imagine a toxic young boy, right? And their red chakra is just awakening and they are feeling bullied, you know? And their red chakra is just a worm, you know? And they only evolved to a worm. And so it's just worming about, like, oh dear. And they're feeling, what's the word? Victimized and betrayed, you know? But it's not necessarily expressing angrily, because it's just a worm, you know? And that worm might evolve into a snake, whereby it's finding places to hide, you know? And but if it's a red snake, then it's going to be reacting to, you know? Whereas you might have children who are much more green, and they had a green worm, and they were very like, snivelly little children. And then they grew up into really expressive, how do I say, much more snake-like, okay, well, you know, I feel like this and I feel like that. And they're much more, it becomes much more winding and able. On some level, once the snake evolves, goes through the snake evolutions into Cobra, which is the last one, it can become a, how do I say, an agile and also venomous being that can defend itself, but also give travel, you know, or give of itself into the expressive community, which is the, how do I say, metaphor for the traveling of the snake, you know? And so once it's a cobra, a red chakra can punch. Does that make sense? And once it's a cobra, a green chakra can express anger, hopefully vocally, because it's much closer to blue. But if it's a red, you know, once the chakra has evolved a shell, you know, there's a few evolutions between cobra and turtle. But once the chakra has grown legs, is able to bite and spit venom, and has also grown a shell, it will become a tortoise. At which point in time, it will be able to give up the ability to violently punch at people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But through the we just got a shot of all of the magic stuff up on there. Through the evolutions of the animals, the chakra becomes more and more able to express itself into the universe. And so the idea of them traveling from a worm to a dragon, but going through all the evolutions, I think the place to stop is when it's a cow, they say, you know, because if you can have all of your chakras be in cow state, then they're just happily grazing on whatever's in front of them.
Yeah.
You know? And like on some level, the dragon state is much more for the sociopathic, city-minded spiritualism, I think, being able to do things constantly. Whereas once you live in a field, it's very much nicer to have a set of 7 cows leading your desires, you know?
I think that's kind of what, like, feels like has been leading my life, because I've never, my whole life's just built on being comfortable. And happy and content.
Well, it should be. I think life should be built on being comfortable and happy and content. I think the question is, what animal are you happy as? Yeah.